Chess is a complex game based on your opponent's decisions, and with thousands of possible permutations, there's no set way to play, and your moves must be based on your opponent's choices. In this video, I will break down the way you can put yourself in the best possible position to ultimately finish the game and win. First, starting moves, what to look out for, and the style of play that involves each opening, as well as stages of development. Second, where to move based on your opponents, spotting where they are attempting to go, and the positions they are trying to take. Third, the best chess tactics, involving pins, forks, and many more. And finally, overall tactics on how you can win every time. If you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe because YouTube loves that. And if this video reaches 8,000 likes, I'll upload a new chess video for you advanced players. So here's how you can win chess every time. Firstly, starting moves. The Italian game. The Italian game begins with e4, e5, then knight f3, knight c6, for bishop to c4. The point is to control the center quickly with your pawn and knight, and then put your bishop on its most dangerous square. By developing this bishop to c4, white targets black's f7 pawn, the weakest point in black's position. This allows white to get a really strong attack early. What is immediately striking is the pressure white is exerting on f7. It is also possible for white to increase the pressure on f7 by making a move for the knight to g5 and or a queen to h5 or d3 to threaten a brutal checkmate on f7. Of course, no game in chess is the same, but knowing where to apply pressure from this opening is crucial, and adapting based on the opposition is necessary after this set of moves. The goal of your first moves in chess are to establish control of the board, the most important part of the board being the center. If you can control the center with your pieces and pawns, you'll be able to dictate the direction of the game. The Ruy Lopez. This attacks the knight which defends the e5 pawn. In doing so, white hopes to use this attack to build more pressure on black's central pawn. Knowing these two openings for white is important as they act to put pressure on certain spots of the board. You can then continue to put pressure on these particular areas, forcing the loss of a piece from the opponent or even a checkmate. Ultimately, there are hundreds of openings, but in principle, figuring out the areas of pressure on the board based on these openings is very important, as you must change your piece placement and positioning to ensure that you can expose their weaknesses, but also not be caught out yourself. So, to win chess every time, knowing openings is important, but being able to understand what pieces and positions your opponents are attempting to attack is crucial. Nevertheless, as a general rule of thumb, in any opening game, do try to take control of the central region, as it allows pieces to be in the most dangerous possible positions. Now that you've made your first move, you need to get your pieces into the action. This is called development. When you're doing this, it is a good idea to do it with as many purposes as possible. If you can develop with an attack, do so. This will give you a time advantage, for example making your opponent respond to a threat that cannot be ignored. We can split the pieces into major and minor, with knights and bishops being minor and queens and rooks being major. You should continue developing your minor pieces. The queen should not be developed so soon because it can become an easy target and even get trapped. Also, the major pieces are developed last because they are more effective in the later stages of the game when pieces have been exchanged and there is not much blocking their way. Conventionally, knights are developed before bishops, but there is some variation in this. Second, reading your opposition. In chess, don't only just think about the next step you or your opponent can take. Take time to consider 2 or 3 steps ahead. Remember that not all placements may look as they seem, so consider sacrifices that may occur to allow for a better position of a few moves down the line. As a result, being able to manipulate your opponent to take a piece as a result before then moving towards a checkmate is a key part of winning in chess. In general, the different pieces tend to favour different styles of play, so be sure to consider these factors. Pawns control squares, knights like to be in the centre, bishops likes to be on long diagonals, rooks like to be lined up in the centre or on open files, and the queen is much more versatile and should be available for a range of different moves. Therefore, be ready to anticipate the kind of moves your opponents can play based on these characteristics. Thirdly, tactics. Part of your scan for checks, captures, and threats involves looking for tactics. Tactics are a sequence of moves that result in tangible gain, which can be material or positional. Let's split these up. In chess, a pin is when a piece is attacked, and if it moves, it exposes an attack or a piece of greater value. Spotting these yourself is crucial, as to not lose major pieces, but also being able to spot key diagonals where a pin can be formed is a great way for bishops to trap opponents, unless they then lose a high value set. Like a pin, a fork is an attack on two pieces. Forks can be delivered by any piece, except for pawns on outside files. A fork is used to gain material or threaten checkmate. The most famous type of fork is a royal fork. A royal fork is a fork in which both the queen and king are attacked. Just remember that forks can be somewhat blatant, especially when knights are in aggressive positions. So, when performing these, don't make it too obvious by only moving the knight, but use it in transitional moments when opponents may be more concentrated on another piece or are in check so are unable to defend. A discovered attack is when one piece moves out of the way of another, thereby revealing an attack. Take the king moving to d2, and the rook is acting on the black king, leading to checkmate. As a result, both being able to use and spot these chess tactics will enhance your game and help you progress to more advanced stages. Finally, general strategy. If you've been faithfully following the above advice, you've probably already been winning lots of games with ease. Taking the foregoing as far as you can will get you to great lengths in your chess career. You are probably well out of the beginner stage and need to take your game a bit further. There comes moments when you just do not know what to do when looking at position. You've developed your pieces to good squares, your pieces are coordinated, you've gone through your mental checklist and evaluated threats, and you've done a scan for tactics, but there's just no obvious move. So, what do you do? This is where strategy comes into play. There won't always be a tactic on the board. The higher rated you get, the less likely is your opponents will blunder their pieces. Strategy is a long-term plan. It often focuses on finding your opponent's weaknesses and trying to target them. You also need to take into consideration what your opponent's strategy may be, and from there, you can then go on to develop your defensive or also offensive strategies. This is what an ideal development would look like. Two pawns in the center, with bishops actively targeting vulnerable squares such as the f7 square. Knights have maximum range of movement, and the major pieces are staring down the middle where things are likely to open up. If you do the above, you're likely to go very far and win many games. You don't need to study lines of theory either. And given that you are now a casual chess professional, a donation to the channel in the form of a like and subscribe would be much appreciated.